मिसेस सरीना ईसा हमारे साथ होंगी।
You didn't agree to give this interview at that time. Why now?
My husband did not want me to give this interview.
Who was the complainant?
If Mr. Imran Khan stood for the principles, he should have advised the president to file a reference against himself.
Real owner of the London properties.
This reminds me of Justice Qazi's money trail.
Tax returns were not in order.
Free plots like Mr. Imran Khan's. Here I provide you proof.
Are you making an allegation against the intelligence agency?
I'm merely citing facts.
Where is the proof you refer to?
Farooq Naseem said in court, when my husband dies, I will get his pension and not have to commit sati.
But the question remains unanswered.
Persecution is worse than death.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम। पाकिस्तान की अदालती तारीख का एक अहम मुकदमा जो तकरीबन 2 साल तक चलता रहा और इसकी 66 से ज़ायद समातें हुई। जी हाँ, मेरी मुराद सुप्रीम कोर्ट के जज जस्टिस काजी फैज ईसा के खिलाफ सदारती रेफरेंस से शुरू होने वाला मुकदमा है। इस मुकदमे की समाअत के दौरान सदर ने कई इंटरव्यूज़ दिए, वफाकी वज़रा ने कई प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंसेस की, लेकिन एक शख्सियत जिसने मीडिया के किसी सवाल का एक लफ्ज़ की सूरत में भी कोई जवाब नहीं दिया। अब जबकि मुकदमा ख़त्म हो चुका तो हमने उनसे रब्ता किया कि हम उनसे पूछें कि इस मुकदमे की समाअत के दौरान उन पर क्या गुजरी, और अब क्योंकि मुकदमा ख़त्म हो चुका है तो कई सवालात ने जन्म लिया है, तो क्या वो हमारे इन सवालात का जवाब देंगी। तो इस पर उन्होंने हमारे साथ हामी भरी और आज वही शख्सियत जी यानी जस्टिस काजी फैज ईसा की अहलिया मिसेस सरीना ईसा हमारे साथ होंगी। उनसे हम कुछ सवालात करेंगे और इस दौरान वीडियो लिंक पर मेरे साथ पाकिस्तान के इंतहाई सीनियर और क्रेडिबल जर्नलिस्ट जो हैं वो भी होंगे, जिनमें शामिल हैं जनाब सैयद तलत हुसैन साहब, जनाब सलीम साफ़ी साहब, जनाब वजाहत मसूद साहब, और लाहौर से हमारे साथ होंगे इमरान शफकत साहब। जी मिसेस सरीना ईसा, शुक्रिया आपका। अगर मैं ये पूछूं आपसे कि मिसेस सरीना ईसा कौन हैं, क्या आप अपने बारे में हमें कुछ बताना पसंद करेंगी?
Mr. Siddiqui, I would rather not say. I would rather not talk about myself. What I am is for my family and friends. I'm not a public figure. The only reason I am here today facing these cameras is for my children and my grandchildren. Otherwise, why should I be here? They have hurt me deeply. They have hurt us deeply. Because of this pain, I am here. So now something about myself. I started teaching English at the Karachi American School before I got married, where I taught for decades. I speak English, Urdu and Spanish as my mother was Spanish. I will be doing this interview in English because all my filings in court are in English. My father Abdul Haq Khoso is from a village near Chekobad. He had lands in Sindh and Balochistan. My great-grandfather built an absolutely beautiful mosque of stone, one of the oldest in the area, demonstrating the excellent quality of stone masonry, an icon of our heritage. I grew up in Karachi, studied in the convent school and then the grammar school. I was an avid reader and read most of the classics while in school. I was good in sports and in most events was part of the school team. I learned to sail at a very young age at the Karachi Yacht Club. My sailing teachers were local fishermen from Liari, Baba and Bid Islands. Those were good years. I enjoy creative things as well as gardening, especially growing vegetables, reading and doing puzzles. And God has blessed me with 3 lovely grandchildren.
You have been through a lot. Give me a sense of your ordeal.
Talat Saab, one day I came to the TV room and I heard the names of my mother and father splashed across national TV, a non-stop verbal artillery fire. The language used was derogatory and painful. Even though my mother had passed a few years before, they shared her name and nationality as if there was something significant in that, but they conveniently forgot to mention that she spent her entire life doing charitable work, helping the poor and needy of Pakistan. They forgot to mention that she had sent hundreds of children to school. My father was diagnosed with cancer. This is the radiology report filed in court. My husband never took more than a month holiday in a year, but because I was all alone at home and had to take care of my father and also of my daughter, who was to deliver her child through cesarean section and had a heart condition, he applied for longer leave. But rather than being able to help, Chief Justice Khosa decided to proceed with the reference and did so during the court's holidays. Never before was a reference taken up during court vacations. Khosa Saab was most kind with us. I had the privilege to serve and care for my father till he passed in my arms, and I so regret that his last year was spent under such difficult circumstances. I will never forget the 25th of June 2020, the day he died.
Madam, my question is, the minority judgment starts with a reference to the Quranic verse about the importance of the truth. Then why did you file a review petition trying to stop FBR from looking into your income and properties?
Salim Sahib, I think you would agree that when the Holy Quran is mentioned, as it was repeatedly in the minority judgment, it should apply to all Muslims. My husband is the only judge, and I the only judge's wife who declared our assets when the Women's Action Forum wrote to the Supreme Court a few years ago. But I'm still waiting for the Honorable Chief Justice Umar Bandial and Honorable Justices Munib Akhtar, Justice Sajjad Ali Shah, and Justice Qazi Amin, who signed this minority judgment, to also disclose theirs and their family assets.
But the question remains unanswered. Why did you object to the case being sent to the FBR?
Talat Saab, with all due respect, the Honorable Justice Umar Bandial did so without first granting me a single hearing and told FBR to decide in 90 days, while the Honorable Judge himself took 127 days to write his reasons for doing so. Incidentally, I was mentioned 194 times in a case in which I was not a party. FBR sent me nine notices. FBR, directed by Mr. Ashfaq Ahmed, said I refused to receive a notice on the 25th of June 2020, and because of my refusal, it was pasted on the gate of my house for the world to see. Here is its photograph. Please see, they opened the envelope and pasted the notices. Can you provide a single example of FBR doing this in any other case? If someone had actually come to deliver it, they would have found out that my father had died on the 25th June, that same day, and his dead body lay in the same house. Now coming to your question, Talat Sahib, FBR may inquire into anyone's income or properties, but this power exclusively vests in the FBR. The President cannot do so. The Prime Minister cannot do so. And with the greatest of respect, Supreme Court judges cannot do so either.
But madam, what is the harm if they ask you?
Mr. Sadiq, I as a teacher know that the laws of a country apply to everyone, but I was singled out. I am grateful to the majority for realizing the error, but with all due respect, the four honorable judges in the minority judgment still maintain they were right in directing FBR. Then, on the same principle of equality, they should have directed FBR to look into the tax affairs and properties of their own wives and children too. Anyways, I made full disclosure to FBR, even though FBR already knew everything. But what can a poor commissioner of income tax do when hukum upar se aata hai?
You're a housewife. The issue is still there, which is unresolved in public mind, as to how a housewife amasses enough wealth to buy properties worth millions of pounds in expensive places like London.
Talat Saab, let me correct you. The properties were not bought for millions of pounds. Mr. Farooq Naseem, who's unfamiliar with the truth, said that the properties were bought for millions of pounds, when in reality the total cost of all three combined was £751,000, approximately the cost of one canal or 500 square yard house in Karachi or Islamabad. And bear in mind, when I bought pounds those many years ago, it was much cheaper than it is now in the present state of the economy. And I was not only a housewife. I started working as a teacher before I was married in one of the best schools in Pakistan, the Karachi American School, and was paid a good salary. Then, in addition to my salary income, I had agricultural land in 2 provinces. I have disclosed their details and provide you a copy. I also had an office in Clifton Centre in Karachi and another property in an expensive residential commercial area of Karachi for which I received rent. These were all disclosed in my income tax returns. My tax matters were handled by one of the most honest and distinguished tax practitioners in Pakistan, the late Mr. Rehan Hassan Naqvi, and after his death, by Miss Lubna Parvez, who was appointed the first woman judge of the Islamabad High Court, but sadly she was not confirmed. I hope I was not the cause of it.
My first question would be that a certain name, Mr. Rizvi, has emerged in the minority judgment. Who is he?
Wajahat Saab, decades ago, Ehsan and my husband set up a law firm by the name of Rizvi Isa & Co. It expanded and took on more partners. Mr. Ehsan Zahir Rizvi and my husband set up the culture of law firms in Pakistan. There were old law firms set up by foreigners such as Sarajan Bicino and or Dignam, or there were one-man shows in which one could only progress if one was related to the lawyer who owned the firm, like Anwar Mansoor Khan's father's firm. The other thing that Mr. Ehsan Rizvi and my husband did was to pay income tax on all their earnings. They, as young lawyers, they were just then little over 40, were paying more income tax than very senior lawyers like Mr. Sharifuddin Pirzada. Mr. Anwar Mansoor Khan, the former Attorney General, was his protege, and Mr. Farooq Naseem, who joined his father's law firm. My husband's law firm also shared work with other lawyers, which few law firms do. Their firm referred a number of cases to, for example, the Honorable Justice Bani Gala as a lawyer, and many more to Mr. Khalid Anwar's firm, where Honorable Justice Munib worked.
Ms. Isa, let's go back to your husband and the London properties. How can you say they were not his?
If they were his, why would he not buy them in his own name, Mr. Siddiqui? After all, he was paying a lot of income tax and declaring each rupee he earned. In 2002, the partner in my husband's law firm was acknowledged as being the highest taxpayer in Pakistan in the professional category. Mr. Rizvi's share in the firm was larger than my husband's, and he was awarded the Sitara-e-Imtiyaz for the best taxpayer.
आप वो सितारा इम्तियाज़ की बात करिए, मैं आपके लिए पढ़ देता हूँ वो। जनाब एहसन रिजवी एक कानूनी फर्म मैसर्स रिजवी ईसा हुसैन के अहम हिस्सेदार हैं। आपकी ऐलान करदा आमदनी और अदा करदा टैक्स में हर साल मुसलसल और बतदरीज इजाफा हो रहा है। 2002 और 2003 के तशख़ीसी साल के दौरान आपकी ऐलान करदा कुल आमदनी की मालियत 2 करोड़ 35 लाख रुपए थी और आपने इस पर आयदशुदा टैक्स की 85 लाख रुपए की रकम बाज़ाब्ता तौर पर अदा की है और इस तरह आप मुल्क के बड़े टैक्स देने वाले बन गए हैं। खदमात आमा बेहतरीन टैक्स दहिंदा के शुबे में आपकी नुमाया खदमात के इतराफ़ में सदर इस्लामी जमहूरिया पाकिस्तान ने जनाब एहसन ज़हीर रिजवी को सितारा इम्तियाज़ का एजाज़ अता किया है।
As far as I know, this distinction of the best taxpayer in the professional category has never before or after been given to any lawyer in Pakistan. Mr. Rizvi's share in the firm was the largest, therefore his income share was the most. After him, it was my husband's. When my husband was appointed as Chief Justice of Balochistan on the 5th of August 2009, he had paid more income tax the previous year than his entire next year's salary as Chief Justice. I show you a copy of his income tax return for the year 2009. This is before he became a judge, and it shows income of over 37 million. When he became Chief Justice Balochistan, his annual income was about 12 times less than what his income was in the previous year. He paid more income tax before he became a judge than his year's total salary after he became a judge.
Coming to the reference, who was the complainant?
In my application filed in the Supreme Court, CMA 7602, this is what I wrote Salim Saab. When Mr. Doga was asked who he worked for, he tauntingly replied, "I am a tout of ISI." Mr. Doga was a party, and neither he nor anyone from the government side denied what I just read. And I think it is common knowledge who back then headed the ISI and his close connection with Mr. Imran Khan and his role in the Faizabad Dharna.
Madam, are you making an allegation against the intelligence agencies?
Let me ask you the straight question. Are you alleging ISI?
Salim Saab, no. I'm merely citing facts. However, things appear to have changed in a very short time within the institution since a professional, non-political general was appointed to head it. A stepping back, a non-involvement on the political front, not stifling independent media, a distinct lack of seeking attention and a firm resolve to not print photographs with politicians.
The allegation made against your husband was that he was the real owner of the London properties. What do you say?
Imran Saab, the allegation against my husband kept changing. Can someone please tell me if the properties were his? Then why did he not buy them in his own name, considering he had more than sufficient tax-paid money? And if he wanted to hide them, then why did he not do what Mr. Imran Khan did, conceal them by putting them in the name of an offshore company? As a successful corporate lawyer, he knew how this is done, simply.
You state the allegations kept changing. How did they change?
Chief Justice Asif Khosa and the other two judges of the Supreme Court on the Supreme Judicial Council, Justice Gulzar Ahmed and Justice Asmat Said, never once called my husband to ask or hear him. But they repeatedly heard Mr. Anwar Mansoor Khan behind my husband's back. On the 29th of May 2019, Chief Justice Asif Said Khosa wrote, and I quote, "Let the learned Attorney General for Pakistan appear before the Council on that date and apprise the Council of the specific breach of law and alleged commission of misconduct by the respondent judge." He never answered his own question, Imran Saab.
Okay. Why did he not answering his own questions?
Imran Saab, there was no substance in the reference, and Justice Khosa, Justice Gulzar and Justice Asmat knew this. But the object of the whole exercise was to remove my husband, not to act fairly, because if they acted fairly, they would have simply dismissed the reference. A bogus concept of money trail was then introduced, of which there is no mention in the income tax ordinance. They must have thought that, like many Pakistanis who buy properties abroad, I would have sent money abroad through illegal means. I think it is called hawala or hundi.
Why would Justice Asif Said Khosa, Justice Asmat Said Sheikh and Justice Gulzar do the government's bidding by introducing the money trail concept?
You should ask them, really. I can only speculate. Asmat Saab, well, everyone knows where his loyalty lay. Was he not appointed on the Board of Governors of Mr. Imran Khan's Shaukat Khanam Memorial Trust immediately after his retirement, and then chosen by Mr. Imran Khan in the broadsheet inquiry, even though he was a NAB employee at the time when the scandal happened, Mr. Siddiqui? And then there is someone who wants extraordinary security in retirement. Is his conscience not clear?
Mrs. Isa, did you send money abroad illegally through hawala or hundi?
Mr. Siddiqui, I did not.
Do you have any proof of this?
Mr. Siddiqui, this was even acknowledged by the commissioner selected by the government at page 157 of his 164-page order. Here, let me read. In response, the documentary evidence submitted by the bank revealed that foreign exchange to the tune of £737,503 and $17,966 was remitted out by the taxpayer.
But he may have favored you. Where is the proof?
Mr. Siddiqui, you do not give up. On the direction of the Supreme Court, I filed these documents in court on the 19th of June 2020, and at its page 4 is a certificate of Standard Chartered Bank which confirms this. Here it is. Let me show you.
Your husband is now one of the senior most judges of the Supreme Court, the ex-Chief Justice of Balochistan High Court. What sort of benefits did he or you get by virtue of these posts?
Talat Saab, my husband was offered plots, but he did not take even one. He said that he was not entitled to any. Some judges request that they sit in benches in Karachi, Lahore, etc., so that they can attend weddings or to attend to personal affairs, and are then paid TNDA. Whenever my husband and I attended a wedding, for instance, Justice Munib's daughter's wedding, we did not burden the tax-paying public. We paid our own fare.
Okay, so who availed of these benefits and these plots?
Ay, Talat Saab, I do not raise my finger at anyone. I only mention some things merely to point out my husband's financial integrity because of all the lies told about him and to which he cannot respond.
Then why did the commissioner pass an order against you?
You should ask the commissioner, Mr. Zulfikar Ahmed and Mr. Ashfaq Ahmed, and those whose bidding they did, Wajahat Saab.
Now, Mr. Ashfaq Ahmed has been appointed as new chairman of FBR and is reputed to be a person of integrity. How would you interpret that?
Wajahat Saab, Mr. Ashfaq Ahmed's integrity I have clearly seen. He dishonestly and illegally changed my RTO from Karachi to Islamabad to access my tax records. I wrote to the FBR on the 27th of January 2020 and again on the 31st January 2020 I wrote to Mr. Ashfaq Ahmed. I would like to read from this letter addressed to Mr. Ashfaq Ahmed dated 31st January 2020. Someone mentioned that it was on your instructions that the RTO was changed because you had received instructions, upar se, to target my husband. I don't know if this is true and look forward to receiving copies of the documents showing why my RTO was changed and who had issued such instructions. And I once again request you to kindly and immediately revert my RTO to Karachi so I can file my return today. Please note the received signature. Till today he has not replied to my letter. I may add that the Supreme Court on the 3rd February 2020 passed the following order. Let me read from this order. Mrs. Isa addressed to the Director General International Taxation, FBR, complaining about the transfer of her RTO from Karachi to Islamabad. Attorney General dated 30th January 2020, the FBR has redressed her grievance and transferred back her RTO from Islamabad to Karachi. This order was passed by 10 judges. Therefore, with respect to the minority judges, a commissioner at Islamabad could not have conducted any inquiry, which was another mistake and which was corrected by the majority when I filed my review. Mr. Ashfaq Ahmed was chosen by Mirza Shehzad Akbar to serve on his illegal assets recovery unit. By the way, what happened to ARU and all the money it collected? Mr. Ashfaq Ahmed did what Mr. Farooq Naseem and Mr. Mirza Shehzad Akbar told him to. Mr. Muhammad Jahanzeb Khan and Ms. Nosheen Javed Amjad, chairpersons of FBR, was distinguished senior bureaucrats. Why were they removed after serving for only a few months? And removed by violating the Supreme Court judgment in the Anita Turab case. Is this not contempt of the Supreme Court? All that I'm saying now, I've said it in the Supreme Court. Let me read from my application, number 7602. Mirza Shehzad Akbar, as Chairman Assets Recovery Unit, wrote on the 22nd April 2019 to Chairman FBR Mr. Muhammad Jahanzeb Khan seeking access to confidential records and authorization of probe. Mr. Jahanzeb Khan did not oblige. The consequence for refusal to comply to PTI's Mirza Shehzad Akbar's demand was Mr. Jahanzeb Khan's removal after serving as FBR chairman for only 8 months. No one has denied this.
Are you saying that the law minister and the chairman FBR broke the law?
Salim Saab, yes. The law does not mean anything to them. The law minister even tried to bribe lawyers. If law bodies are entitled to receive money, then why was payment made conditional on them first speaking against my husband and me? The law minister took it even a step further by illegally amending Section 216 of the Income Tax Ordinance to protect and benefit himself and his co-conspirators. Firstly, they committed a criminal offense by accessing my tax records. Then they committed another crime by changing the law to benefit themselves, which is a crime under Section 9 of the NAB Ordinance.
Madam, you had written letters to Law Minister Farooq Naseem, to Mirza Shehzad Akbar and to Anwar Mansoor. Can you share the details of their replies?
The law minister and his accomplice Mirza Shehzad Akbar issued a press release threatening me with a legal notice. I have not received it yet. Mr. Anwar Mansoor Khan, who always had the courage to speak behind my back, has also not responded. They violated four different laws and committed crimes. Let me read this. They violated tax confidentiality, which is a crime under Section 216 of the Income Tax Ordinance. They violated Section 33A of the Banking Companies Ordinance, which guarantees secrecy. Foreign currency accounts have added security. Section 4 of the Protection of Economic Reforms Act says that such account holders, and I quote, enjoy immunity against any inquiry from the Income Tax Department, unquote. This law was also violated, and they also changed Section 216 of the Income Tax Ordinance to protect and benefit themselves, and in doing so committed a crime under Section 9 of the NAB Ordinance.
Why did you not report it to NAB?
I did, Salim Saab. Here is my letter. Here is NAB's reply, which says that they are looking into it.
Will National Accountability Bureau doing anything?
You may want to ask them that.
But Prime Minister supports his law minister.
Imran Saab, undoubtedly he does. And in doing so, the Prime Minister brings his own credibility under a cloud. It seems no one likes a judge who cannot be blackmailed, bullied or bored. First a Doga missile was launched. When it misfired, a Mirza Iftikharuddin rocket was launched. And when I went to the police to register an FIR against him for propagating terrorism, he was protected, even though he called for the murder of a Supreme Court judge. I show you my written application for registration of FIR against Mirza Iftikharuddin. It is dated 24th June 2020. This I filed with my review application at page 93. I won't read the whole thing. I'll just read 2 paragraphs from it, if I may. As you must know, many powerful people are not happy with my husband, and I suspect that this death threat to my husband is in continuation of what we have been facing. A complaint was submitted by some Abdul Wahid Dogar against my husband. My husband asked who Abdul Wahid Dogar is, but no one in the government disclosed, nor who Abdul Wahid Dogar worked for. Mirza Shahzad Akbar, who has his office in the Prime Minister's Secretariat, has met with Abdul Wahid Dogar, so please contact him to find out about Abdul Wahid Dogar, who is being used by some very powerful people. Please also contact the head of ISI, as he must be aware. My father is very seriously ill, and today is the first day I have stepped out of the house. I do not want to also lose my husband. Threatening to murder a judge of the Supreme Court of Pakistan is the worst kind of terrorism. Many powerful people want to get rid of my husband, and it is your duty to find out who they are and to arrest them.
Are you upset because the President, on the Prime Minister's advice, filed the reference against your husband?
Imran Saab, what do you think? But what I really dislike even more are hypocrites. Mr. Imran Khan bought an apartment in London, which he sold for £715,000 in 2003. I and my children bought properties in 2004 and 2013 for roughly the same amount. But unlike Mr. Imran Khan, we did not hide our properties behind an offshore company. If Mr. Imran Khan stood for the principles he professed, then frankly speaking, he should have advised the President to file a reference against himself.
What exactly is hypocritical?
Election laws, Imran Saab, require any person who contests elections to disclose his properties and those of his wives and children. I have never contested an election. Mr. Imran Khan did. But now mine and my children's properties are well known to everyone. Please do tell me why Mr. Imran Khan does not disclose those of his wives and children. And the money trail invented by Justice Qazi. Where is Mr. Imran Khan's money trail of the palatial Bani Gala residence? Then again, he must be telling the truth that his ex-wife gave him the money. Indeed, she is a kind and generous lady, but nonetheless I wonder why she would firstly pay her ex-husband and then not send the money directly to Mr. Imran Khan's account. Mr. Imran Khan says the money was sent to Mr. Rashid Khan's account and to a bank which no longer exists. How very convenient. And if I may add, for someone shouting the accountability mantra day in and day out? Did Mr. Imran Khan, like me, voluntarily come before the Supreme Court to address all concerns for the sake of accountability? No, he hired a battery of lawyers. Regarding me, the Honorable Justice Bani Gala said in open court that he was fully satisfied, which the pressure of work may have made him forget. If you doubt me, please ask the Supreme Court to telecast the recording of my statement and what the Honorable Justice Bani Gala said.
Very well said, but the Commissioner has commented that your tax returns were not in order.
Mujahid Saab, of course he will say this and close his eyes to my rental income, agricultural income, and profit on my savings certificates. But tell me, what could the poor guy do under all that pressure? In the application which I filed in the Supreme Court on the 19th of June 2020, I also attached property extracts of my agricultural land and savings certificates. This is also part of the public record, the court record, which is open to the public. Please tell me whether Mr. Imran Khan was paying income tax in 1982 when I started paying income tax? Please tell me how many years he paid income tax and how much. Since the world knows about my tax record, why am I not entitled to ask the person pointing the finger at me about his? I don't make allegations sitting on television behind Mr. Imran Khan's back. Mr. Imran Khan was respondent number 3 in my review application, and this is what I wrote in application 7602 at page 43. I'll just read a line from it. Mr. Imran Khan is a tax cheat, did not disclose his 3 children's assets when they were minors in his returns. I would like also to ask the hound Mr. Imran Khan set upon us, the unaccountable accountability czar and his wife, to disclose their income tax records and the date when they started filing them. And in the same application, I wrote this about Mirza Shahzad Akbar. If I may read. Mirza Shahzad Akbar is a tax cheat. He does not disclose his wife's property in Spain in his returns. He set up an illegal assets recovery unit and got himself appointed as ARU's chairman. He went to London to negotiate with a property tycoon a deal worth millions. He conspired with Mirza Iftikharuddin in the attempted assassination of Justice Qazi Faiz Isa. These so very honest gentlemen do not deny what I stated in court. FBR protects them because his beneficiary is heading it.
The minority judgment has mentioned that Mr. Ehsan Rizvi paid you £125,000 in 2008 and 2009, and that you had authorized your husband to operate your accounts. Is this correct?
Mr. Siddiqui, I do not know who provided this information to the honorable minority judges. My husband was never asked about this. I have also never been asked about it. None of the 9 notices FBR sent to me say this. This is also not mentioned in Mr. Zulfikar Ahmed's 164-page order. This reminds me of Justice Khosa's money trail, and like it, a new insinuation by referring to what they say is in 12 and 14-year-old documents which we have not been shown nor asked about. But no one the Prime Minister, Law Minister, FBR, NAB, State Bank want to know about the proceeds of a crime worth £190 million, which the ARU did not find, but a foreign country did. Isn't it a shame what an extraordinary effort has been made by Mr. Imran Khan, Mr. Farooq Naseem, and Mirza Shehzad Akbar to conceal the truth from the people of Pakistan? Is this what the Holy Quran and its cited verses permit? Should we then be surprised that Pakistan is on the FATF grey list? No one has accused me that my London properties were proceeds of crime. I worked hard my entire life and bought them from my own money. They were not handouts.
Mrs. Isa, are you suggesting others have received handouts?
I'm not suggesting. I'm saying it. Free plots. Free plots like Mr. Imran Khan's. Here I provide you proof of his getting a plot from the government by filing a false affidavit saying that he did not have any property in Lahore. He got another plot in Islamabad. I will read from my application number 7602. Mr. Imran Khan submitted a false affidavit to obtain a one-canal plot for himself in Lahore from the Punjab Chief Minister, Mr. Nawaz Sharif, in 1987, as mentioned in the petitioner's review. Mr. Imran Khan also received a free one-canal plot in Islamabad and money from Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif in 1992 on winning the World Cup. Did it behove a financially well-off gentleman to take free plots and to deprive the poor, particularly when receiving plots was not backed by any law? In comparison, the petitioner has never received a handout from the government, let alone by submitting a false affidavit, nor did she ever avail of a tax amnesty. This legal document submitted in court has also not been denied.
Where is the proof you refer to?
Here is his request for a free plot. Here is his signature. I don't know if the viewers can see it. I will read, if I may. Dear Sir, I am to request you kindly to allot a residential plot to me. I have no house and want to construct one for my own use. Yours truly, Imran Khan. This has been filed in the Supreme Court in my Civil Review Application 298 from pages 57 to 61, and Mr. Imran Khan did not deny this. Mr. Imran Khan then submits an affidavit. I will show you the affidavit. This is his signature. I will just read one portion of it. I, Imran Khan, son of Ikramul Khan Niazi, hereby solemnly declare that neither I nor any of my dependents own a residential plot or house or flat at any urban area of Punjab. This is signed by Mr. Imran Khan on the 4th of April 1987. And I now will show you that he did get a plot. This is Chief Minister's Secretariat's letter. I will read it for the benefit of the viewers. This is the letter. Chief Minister has seen the enclosed request from Mr. Imran Khan and has approved the allotment of a one-canal plot out of his discretionary quota in Faisal Town Housing Scheme, Lahore. Further necessary action may be taken in the matter. It's signed by the Secretary to Chief Minister Naved Ehsan. I would like you to note that the very same day he gave the affidavit, he got a plot. Mr. Imran Khan did not deny this because he cannot deny this. So talking about handouts, these are free handouts, and the Islamabad plot, which I've already mentioned.
I understand that initially this case was pending, it was sub judice, the proceedings, but there was a lot of propaganda against you, vile, vicious propaganda. You didn't agree to give this interview at that time or bring some clarity onto these issues. Why? Why now?
Talat Saab, would it have been proper for me to talk about pending cases? Even now, my husband did not want me to give this interview, and so I'm not giving it at home, my husband's official residence. Having said that, I may add that others have no respect for the Supreme Court. The President of Pakistan gave 3 interviews in the presidency on the pending reference and on our cases. The Law Minister, Attorney General Anwar Mansoor Khan, Mirza Shehzad Akbar and Information Minister continued their false propaganda on television. Pemra ignored this. No fine was imposed, no channel suspended. And then there is the troll army abusing us, all of whom make the same spelling mistakes. Why are they so afraid of the truth? And perhaps women?
Madam, why do you say that they are afraid of the truth and perhaps the fact that you are a woman?
Wajahat Saab, please do note their misogynist mindset. For example, Mr. Farooq Naseem said in court that I am lucky that when my husband dies, I will get his pension and not have to commit sati. They have a problem accepting an independent, educated working woman. Miss Nosheen Javed Amjad they did not accept, as she was independent and honest. And so she was removed as the chairperson of FBR. They appointed Mr. Javed Ghani for 90 days as chairperson, which period, incidentally, coincided with the time given to FBR. And then there is Mr. Ashfaq Ahmed, whom they are extremely happy with. And Mr. Farooq Naseem, Mr. Anwar Mansoor Khan, Mirza Shehzad Akbar, and the complainant, Mr. Dogar, did not have the courage to face me and the truth in the Supreme Court.
But Justice Nasra Iqbal, a retired Justice of Lahore High Court, herself being a woman, she has attacked you quite vehemently. How would you comment on that?
Wajahat Saab, I wish she would have picked up the phone and asked me if she had any concerns. This is very embarrassing for me to say, but she should have first told her son to return the Senate seat given to him by Mr. Imran Khan. This would have shown her to be a principal lady, and no one would have then accused her of returning the favor.
Mrs. Isa, let me ask you the last question. Are you bitter and angry?
I will just show you a little bit of what I and my children were put through. We were subjected to intense surveillance. This is what the government filed in court. All details about my son, all details about my daughter, all details about myself, and my travel history. And our photographs taken at the immigration counter at the airports, my husband's entire travel history, my daughter's entire travel history. There is so much material. These were personal, confidential details. Mr. Siddiqui, there is a verse in the Holy Quran, the depth and significance of which, after my ordeal, I have now understood. Persecution is worse than death.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Isa.
I would like to thank all of you for the time and trouble you have taken, for the questions asked, and I must admit, some of them were tough. Your professional approach has made it possible for me to share some details of how we have suffered, and for that I thank you all and the technical crew sincerely. Thank you.
मिसेस सरीना ईसा ने अपने इस इंटरव्यू के अंदर बहुत सारी अहम बातें की हैं, और अगर कोई शख्स ये समझता है कि वो उनसे इख्तलाफ करता है या उन्होंने दुरुस्त बात नहीं की है, तो हमारा प्लेटफॉर्म जो है वो हाजिर है। हम आपके मुंतज़िर रहेंगे, और मिसेस सरीना ईसा ने इस इंटरव्यू में जो सवालात उठाए हैं, अगर कोई इसका जवाब देना चाहे तो हमारा ये प्लेटफॉर्म जो है वो उनके लिए हाजिर है। अब्दुल क़रीम सिद्दीकी को इजाज़त दीजिए, अल्लाह ने के बाद।
Persecution is worse than death.